As if breaking through some dimensional barrier, the lights appeared to whirl and flash as the car spun round and round. The view from down the road gave the appearance of a very bad wreck, and the police officers, coming upon it, anticipated severe injuries. They pulled up near the wrecked vehicle in their patrol car and noticed how the spinning, out-of-control car had actually crashed into the rock wall of the roadside cut. However, once out of their patrol car, the officers were in for a bigger surprise. There was no one in the wrecked car, nor had anyone been slung out of the spinning vehicle. Another strange thing was the engine and engine compartment were completely cold. Two officers had just seen what they assumed to be an accident happening before their very eyes, and when they arrived at the scene, only seconds later, they were shocked to find no one in the car and an engine as cold as if it had never been cranked. Very frightened, the officers left the scene. But where had the car come from? Are we to assume that this vehicle crashed into our reality in northwest Alabama from some other dimension? Did the officers really see what they thought they saw, and was the car really a car or something else? Was the story a complete fabrication? The heart of Dixie has never been known as a hotbed of UFO activity, but following a well-publicized flap around the small North Alabama town of Fuff in mid-1989, sightings have been on the increase statewide. Historically, the state had its first brush with things from outer space on the night of November 13, 1833, when a vast meteor shower gave the appearance of 200,000 shooting starts, falling per hour across the state. Though the shower was observed throughout North America and Europe, Alabamians had a front-row seat due to ideal weather conditions. Many residents thought the end of the world had come, and the event was immortalized in the song, "Stars Fell on Alabama." Just north of the small town of Steele, an old country road runs along the county line between St. Clair and Etowah counties. The road, now paved, was once dirt and very seldom traveled. The writer's mother recalls how in her youth, she and a friend took a walk up the road. They observed a small light, about the size of a small plate, moving on the ground in front of them. The light did not appear as a ball, but rather as a flat light moving on the road near their feet. During the late 1940s, Ezzie Dothit observed weird balls of light float down the side of the mountain, cross the valley in which she lived, and disappear behind the ridge north of her home near Wellington. Mrs. Dothit said she remembers when she stood in her yard and watched as the lights, red and green in color, would come floating down the mountain in front of her home. Usually they would come in groups and would fly only a few feet off the ground. Mrs. Robert Sharpton also remembered the lights. Once she observed a glowing light, several inches in diameter, float down the mountain behind her barn.